question as well as a comment.
Sure.
Regarding the the question about do we have to succeed Judge Damon Key, and Reggie, the caller Reggie called in and said something about someone with heart and backbone. I know someone who has a show on there on 910. He has, and I don't know him personally, but based on everything I've read about him and heard about him, he not only has the heart and the backbone, but he's extremely well qualified. And I think that there's a book. Have you heard of this book, The American Directory of Certified Uncle Toms?
No, I'm not.
Okay, that's a very good book. And I believe that based on what is said, that Wade McCree may have been targeted because they saw that he was headed for greatness.
I don't want to discuss Wade McCree on my show.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to do that. I think Wade McCree had issues, legitimate issues that were raised in his how do you call it, issue with the, I think it was the Judicial Tenure Commission or something. I don't want to
go into that. Yes, I recall that he did have issues, but I thought that he may have, his issues may have been brought to fore because he may have been headed for greatness. Okay, well, and my question is regarding Ayanna Jones.
Ayanna Jones, right?
Yes, I recall that case, and I recall that Jeff Feiger rushed out for her case as well as many other cases that were, highlighted in the news. And I remember he sued for millions, and he's also filed, I think, a $50 million lawsuit on behalf of Damon Grimes. You mentioned that you saw him at her funeral, but I never hear the final resolution of that case, Ayanna Jones. And I know Damon Grimes' case is...
Well, the Ayanna Jones situation, Ayanna Jones' case has been in and out of court, so I don't know what the final resolution of that anyway, but...
I hear that he rushes out and grabs up all these cases. I mean,
I'm not blaming Feiger. What I'm saying is bigger than Feiger. I just gave Feiger as an example because Feiger is in the picture. All I'm saying is that you're telling me there are not enough black civil rights lawyers in this town who could have stepped up and even say, look, we don't even want to get paid for this case. There's an injustice here. There's serious issues here. We want to send a message back, taking on this case. I want to send a message to the status quo. They could have done that, but we didn't see that. And I don't think the family of Ayanna Jones would perhaps walk away from a pro bono case with competent, prominent, and well-qualified lawyers, black civil rights lawyers, than going to Feiger, who has a lot on his plate. So that's what I'm saying. So
he has a lot of people.
I don't want. It's not about Feiger, but all I'm saying is black civil rights lawyers, black civic leadership. Thank you so much, Erica. 313-778-7600. Let's go to Cleveland. Cleveland has a question or comment.
Thanks for taking my call. My question to you is, do you believe that the lawyer that lived under segregation will give you the same fight that a lawyer that's living under integration, who may be enjoying a life at the Detroit Athletic Club, who's playing golf at Plum Hollow 3 or 4 times a week? You think he's going to have that same fight that a Thurgood Marshall would have?
I don't want to judge what's in the heart of those lawyers. I don't want to use that as a benchmark. I don't think so. I would not subscribe to that metric, though. But I hear what you're saying. But segregation may not be as visible as it used to be, but there is still segregation, perhaps in very subtle ways. But I see where you're going with that analogy, huh?
There's a book out titled How the Irish Became White and the Wages of Whiteness, and how, I get what you're saying, but there's a psychology aspect of it too. So it's like once a black person gains a certain amount of white privilege, I don't really see that as I get what you're saying, but I just don't see that attitude coming through once you have gained so much privilege. I mean, once you get so much privilege, where do you even dig in to get that fight from? Where are you going to tap into to get that energy?
I disagree, because you know why? If that's the metrics you're using, I could go to white people in the 60s and the 50s. The Morris Deeds, he was born privileged because he's a white male, but he did go into himself and look at himself and knew that equality means that not just for him as a white person, but other people that don't look like him, that don't have the same skin color, have to have equality. So Maurice Dees is actually a great example for your analogy. A white male born privileged, every white person is born privileged because whiteness is privilege in itself. But he walked away from that privilege and took up the KKK. So I disagree with that. I don't think that just because you're born privileged doesn't mean that you won't have the stomach to fight. You won't have the fire in you to fight for equality. That is wrong. And I think we do that. We're judging people by that's wrong. I don't agree.
Well, I mean, but I get what you're saying, but then you're talking about like a William Lloyd Garrison or a Gandhi or, I mean, there's always...
It's not Gandhi, brother. I just went to Maurice Dees. I didn't go to Gandhi or...
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying, there's always going to be a marquee talent. There's always going to be that marquee person. But you can't mention 1 million white people who have had that same, that same fight in them and that same passion for over 100 years. So I get what you're saying. My question is just, there's a psychology to it, and I just don't see it. I mean, I hope what you're saying takes place, but I don't see that. That's my comment.
Yeah, no, I hear you, brother. Thank you so much, Cleveland. 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. We're talking about Black civic leadership, and this whole conversation started with Maurice Dees, who was a co-founder of the Southern Poverty Law Center, and a legal giant. The man who took on hate and fought hate, went after the KKK. It requires a lot of courage to do that, and basically made it his life commitment to go after hate and bigotry and those who sell hate and bigotry in the marketplace, and went after them. And so he was at Detroit Unity Temple yesterday speaking. So I was talking about his legacy, tying that to the legacy of other brilliant legal minds. We talked about Charles Hamilton Houston, who was, who helped really orchestrate the great battles that informed the Brown v. Board of Education, right? And we talked about Thurgood Marshall. Talk about, in Detroit, Damon Keith. And Damon Keith basically, did a lot. He handed out some consequential verdicts to this day that have great impact. But we talk about them in the past. We celebrate what they've done. But when we look at the present, what is there to celebrate? I honestly don't see much. I'm sorry, you can call me pessimist if you will, but there are lots of problems here. And I just gave you 2 real-life examples. I gave you Damon Grimes as an example. The young black kid who died in a police encounter, right, with the state police. I gave you an example for Ayanna Jones, both of them represented by a prominent white injury lawyer, right? Just give you 2 examples. Both cases, a textbook case for what it means when we say Black lives do matter. Both cases are textbook case for what it means when we say equality under the law. Both cases. This is not 1850 or 1940. These cases have happened. These are within the last 10 years. Both cases are textbook case for what it means when we say Black kids also have to have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? Right? Both cases are important for the struggle for equality. But in both cases, it's the same white, powerful injury lawyer who represented, right, both victims. In a city like Detroit that brags about the history of prominent lawyers, a history of incredible civic leadership, the city of C.L. Franklin, the city of Frederick Sampson, the city of, you name it, you know where I'm going with this, right? In both cases. Now, I keep saying that, don't say Bankole playing the race card. No, I'm not playing the race card. I'm challenging Black civic leadership. You're telling me that there are no prominent Black lawyers, civil rights lawyers in this town that could have taken either of these cases as pro bono? You're telling me that? You're telling me that? There are no prominent Black lawyers in this town? Brian Cartwright said NAACP legal action has a lot on its plate. They're dealing with voter rights across the state. I'm talking about these cases right here, individual cases that speak to the collective experience of Black life. You're telling me there are no Black civil rights lawyers who could have stepped up, or a group of them, and said, look, we're stepping up. We're going to just, in fact, do this case pro bono. We don't even want to get paid because this is about a bigger issue. Yes, this is about a bigger issue. And the issue here is Black Lives Do Matter. That we will use this as a textbook case. But no, nothing. So when people talk about, this city's history and how great and wonderful it is, yes, its history is great and wonderful. But in the now, we're in trouble. We are in trouble because I see so many buried contradictions. I see lack of courage. I see fear. I see people who feel like they have a lot to lose when they really have nothing to lose. They've already arrived by the way. They have nothing to lose. And you know who I'm talking about. They have nothing to lose. But they claim that they have a lot to lose. I can't do that. I can't do this. Okay. That's how you roll. That's fine. That's okay. So I see a lot of courage. I see a lot of fear. I see people that don't want to be taken off the invitation list. People don't want to be taken off the invitation list. I see people that want to remain constant invite to the galas. I see people that don't want to make anybody mad and upset. But when you channel your own history to a Damon Keith or a Morris Dean, you brag about how courageous and fearless they were. But the contradiction is that you're not doing the same thing anyway. You're different. You're the total opposite of what they were. Now, neither of these men were magicians. They're just human beings like us. They go to sleep at night like we do. They worry about things like we do. Right? They don't walk on water. They're just regular people. But they were courageous. They were courageous enough, and they were sick and tired of being sick and tired, and decided to use their profession to make great demands on the questions of justice. And so they succeeded. And so we remember them as icons. We remember them as men who rewrote history. But what will we remember you as? When your name is mentioned, yes, you're a prominent civil rights lawyer. Yes, you're prominent this. Yes, you're this and that. Yes, you sit on 500 boards in this town. Yes, you do this. You're the chair of this, all the stuff. And you're the chief socialite. What would we remember you of? What would we remember about you? Would the masses of blacks even know your name? Would people who feel powerless and voiceless even know who you are? Would they remember who you are and know what you stand for? Yes, you have a great resume. Yes. We know in your own right you're powerful because you sit on every board in this town. You're the kahuna. You're the everything. The HNIC. Yes, we know that. But outside of all of that stuff, all these titles that you have that are on a long list of resumes, Dr. King says life's persistent question is, what are you doing for others? Right? Can a litany of, can a number or hundreds of black kids see you as a champion and a hero? Because you finally got out of your comfort zone and said, look, you know what? The next Damon Grimes, we will take it head on. Or do you just